Welcome to the My Opinion Podcast, a show that focuses on leadership, life, and love to empower women around the world to be the best versions of themselves. The My Opinion Podcast is a weekly show with Maya's Motivation Monday, focusing on leadership topics for women, and special edition episodes that feature guest interviews and current events. Now, all in her opinion, here is your host, Maya Roffler.
Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of My Opinion. Today is a special edition episode. Today I'm talking about leaders who listen, because I truly believe that leaders who listen, or as I like to say, listening leaders, it's catchy, right? are truly the best leaders. I've talked about in several podcasts what the qualities and characteristics and traits are in the best leaders, but a leader who communicates effectively will always be the best leader. But a listening leader is the best leader, and there are so many reasons why, but I want to talk about those today because I feel like in almost every single podcast when I'm talking about a good, strong leader and what it takes to be an amazing leader, I talk about a leader who listens or a listening leader. And I like to think of myself as a listening leader. I definitely think that's what's made me successful as a leader in the past. I have learned in my early stages as a leader when I didn't listen and I wasn't using that skill set, that's where I failed. And you learn from failure. Failure is something we all need to embrace. And I'm sure you see it on social media. I'm sure you see it in blogs, posts. It's all out there. But to experience failure is important. And when we fail at listening, it's a huge learning. It was for me at least. And it's a learning to this day. In every relationship, listening is important. And when we fail to listen, we learn from it. We learn so much because when you listen more than you talk, you learn more. So when you fail to listen, you reflect back and you realize, wow, I could have learned so much more, because you start to realize, wow, I could have prevented this, or I could have perhaps done this or that better. I mean, the list goes on. We could be here for hours talking about that because we all have those experiences. Why is a listening leader, I mean, I just started talking about why, but let's talk about some other reasons why a listening leader is always a winning leader. One, it strengthens your relationships. And this is true in life anyway. So strengthens your relationships with your people. Because when you are always listening to your people and you have kind of that open door policy, but you're really like listening and you really stick to it and you show them that you are a listening leader, your relationship with your people changes. You show them that you value them. You show them that they matter, and they start to take a breath. And they want to come to you. They want to talk to you. They want to open up. I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to learn a hell of a lot about your division, your branch, your company, whatever it is that you're running, and your relationship with them is going to be amazing. It doesn't mean you need to be BFFs with every person. I actually highly discourage that. For those of you that listen to me consistently, whether it's my lives, podcasts, whatever it is, I discourage that. If friendship happens organically through working together, that's incredible. But you want to be friends, so I want to be clear. When I'm saying it strengthens your relationships, I'm not saying you want to be friends with everybody. No. If a friendship happens organically through time, that's one thing. But to seek out friendship in these, situations is not the right way to go. That's not what I'm saying. Listen to them so you can become friends. No, wrong. So it strengthens your relationships because you really get to know them. But remember, as a leader, The more you listen, the more you learn. Okay? It builds trust. So I was kind of already talking about this, but when you're having that open door policy and they feel comfortable, the people reporting to you or the people on your team or people at your company, when they feel comfortable coming to you and feel like they can take a deep breath and they can talk to you about things and just let their hair down and be honest, that's trust. You're building trust and rapport with them. That's the foundation for any relationship, whether it's a romantic relationship, whether it is a work relationship, or it's a family relationship, whatever relationship that is, you have to have trust. Why is a work relationship any different? It's not. So when they feel like they can come to you and talk about anything, of course, work appropriate, you've built trust. Congratulations. You are a listening leader. It is a good sign when your employees are coming to you and they feel like they can tell you anything, of course, appropriate. If they're coming and talking to you and, just shooting the shit about the weekend all the time, you've probably sent the wrong message. It's probably time to draw some boundaries and let them know, okay, this is the workplace, this is, we gotta buckle down here and this is what we need to talk about. But if they're coming to you and saying, hey, Maya, this is a little difficult to talk about, but, Susie is asking me to do her job for her, and she leaves for lunch for 4 hours during the day, and it's making me really uncomfortable. And I wanted to help her out because she has a lot of medical appointments, but now I feel like she's taking advantage of me because she's doing much better now. And we're in the virtual world now, guys, so this could be happening virtually. But so you can have your virtual door open. But when that happens and your people feel comfortable enough to come to you and have those conversations, you're winning. You are winning. And you've built that trust. It improves teamwork, too, when you're a listening leader. Because when you are not spending your time just talking to the boardroom, and again, when I say like a boardroom or a meeting, I mean, everything's so virtual. So you're on a Zoom or whatever you use as your internal tool right now. When you're not the one talking the entire time, now don't get me wrong, you are the leader. So you should open things up and have control. I use that word kind of lightly, but you should have control of things in a sense. But when you observe and you sit back and you listen, and you are that active listening leader, you can watch how the team interacts, and it encourages teamwork, which is a beautiful thing. Because when you're just sitting up there like a dictator and speaking the entire time, that does not encourage teamwork. People disengage, especially virtually in the world that we're living in. And it removes that element of people wanting to come together. But when you kind of pull yourself back and you become that listening leader, you kick everything off and then you pull back a little bit and you listen. You'll see, why do we always say Susie? I don't know if we say Susie, but we see Susie go, well, you know what would be a great thing? If we started to do this with our clients and we ship in this kind of way. And then, Frank chimes in and goes, yes, because that's a great idea. But however, with shipping, how are we going to handle this on the back end? And they start to collaborate. And you sit there and you listen as the leader. And then you have Annie chime in and go from accounting, well, how's that going to work over in accounting though? Because the cost, and then they start to collaborate. And it inspires teamwork. And you as the leader are sitting there listening. And you chime in when there are final decisions to be made, when it's appropriate for you to chime in. You're encouraging teamwork as a listening leader. It also enhances your credibility when you're doing that, because you're coming into those situations to kind of put your final stamp of approval, but you're empowering those individuals that work for you. But when you also have that open door policy, virtual open door policy, and you know, these individuals that work for you, you know, are on your team, company, whatever it is, you've built the trust, your credibility shines, because when you have trust, credibility is there. It goes hand in hand. So all these factors are building off one another, and it increases loyalty. Trust and loyalty also just go hand in hand together. I think we know that. And for me personally, as a leader, honesty and loyalty are huge for me in my personal and professional life. I don't care. You can make mistakes. You can screw up. We all do. But as long as you're honest and you're loyal, you're going to work for me. And we're going to be all good. But you got to be honest and you got to be loyal. And you got to show up and do the thing. We got to work hard together. Those are my values and the foundations for my company and for what I do and the things that I work really hard for. And we all have different things that are important to us. But this, being a listening leader, this is all encompassing here. And last but definitely not least, when you're a listening leader, believe it or not, this shows people that you really care. And I think this is something that some leaders really misconstrue. I think that they believe when they get up there and they make these really grandiose like speeches, you know, in a boardroom meeting, which again, it's all virtual, and they get up and they talk about, we're going to be fine and you're going to have jobs. And no, listen to your people. Listen to what their concerns are. Address them. Take it in, empower them to interact with each other. That's when your people truly feel like you care, because you're empowering them. You're listening to what they have to say. Think about the last time that you really felt heard, whether that was with your significant other, a family member, perhaps it was with someone at work, whether it was your supervisor or a peer or someone that works for you. Maybe someone that works for you really heard you. Think about how that felt. Isn't that an amazing feeling when you're like, wow, I felt really heard. Like someone sat there and intensely listened to you, gave you feedback, and said, you know what, I understand how you're feeling. This is what I recommend doing, or this is how I'm going to help you, XYZ. That's incredible, because that makes you feel, at least this is how I feel, and in my opinion, this is incredible. It makes you feel like that person genuinely has a vested interest in helping you with that problem or helping you with that situation and wants you to feel better about it and is going to do it and is going to help you with it. So, be a listening leader is the moral of this podcast and this episode. But understand what's at stake for you if you're not a listening leader. And I feel like so many leaders out here, you know, are really good at listening. I do. But I feel like there's a lot out there that think their job is to go out and make speeches and inspire and that's it. And that's not the case. It is important that leaders go out there and send their message and talk. I don't want this to be misconstrued. But, you know, we all have a truth. It needs to be said. And that's on the leader side, of course. But it's on our employee side, too. They need to be heard. And I think we learn so much more from listening, especially to our employees, than what our original vision was. Because, you know, we come up with an idea and we come up with whatever it is that we originally wanted to start. I don't know why, but right now I'm thinking about Spanx just because I love Spanx and I own 1 million pairs. And, you know, I think about her vision, and she's here in Atlanta too, and I just adore her. I think she's adorable. And, you know, she has so many things that she talks about in her vision, and it's incredible. But if she doesn't, her company has grown so much versus when she cut off pantyhose and used it so that she didn't have to wear underwear under a white dress. So if she didn't listen to her people as she's evolved, as she now has, not just these Spanx, she has pants and denim and all these other, lines that she knows nothing about. I mean, she knows about it, but not to the extent that these particular people in these departments do. So if she didn't listen to her people, which I know she does, I know people that work there, if she didn't listen to them, where would she be? Your people are your most important, I hate to say asset, but asset to your company and to you. And if you don't listen to them, everyone has a truth. You have the truth, you have the vision, but they are the backbone, and you have to listen to them. And every voice should be heard. You have an incredible gift as a leader, that you have people that want to follow your vision and want to follow you. And that is something that you don't want to take lightly. And that's why listening leaders are the future and will continue to thrive. But all voices should be heard. All voices on your team. It does not matter what they do for you. It doesn't matter if they directly report to you or not. It is your job, and I believe it's the most important job for a leader, to make sure that every single voice on your team is heard.
Thank you so much for listening to the My Opinion Podcast. You can catch up on past episodes on the My Opinion Podcast website at www.myopinionpodcast.com, as well as read the My Opinion blog and contact Maya directly with your questions. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at My Opinion Podcast and Maya Roffler. We'll see you back here next week.